Alright, so I wanted to make a video where I'm going to share all my copywriting knowledge from the last 9 years of writing into one condensed video. So this is going to be everything, no stone left unturned, to all about my story and literally just spill the beans on everything I've learned. So if you are looking at getting started with copywriting, this video should give you some clarity whether this career is right for you, and then how to actually get started and inspire you to take action. So first off, I'll just give you my brief story of how I found copywriting, how I got into it, and like where that led to. I used to be a joiner. After I left college, I became a woodworker. I was putting roofs on houses, fitting kitchens, all that sort of stuff, working on a building site. And after a few years of doing that and getting an apprenticeship, I realised that that career path just wasn't for me. I didn't want to slave away on a building site. It just wasn't my thing. So I then exited that and started doing personal training because I loved health and fitness and building my strength, helping people achieve their goals. Throughout that journey, I was fascinated with learning all parts of growing that business. Obviously, one of those parts of the business is getting clients and marketing. So naturally, I went down the rabbit hole of how to get personal training clients. And then I ended up joining a couple of masterminds. One of the masterminds I joined had a ton of trainings in there. And there was one training in there that stood out like a sore thumb to me. And that's where I first stumbled on copywriting. And a guy had a training in there about copywriting, what it was. And he was an actual full-time copywriter. So I was really intrigued by this. I watched it and then was like fascinated by what he was telling me. He was talking about like what his day-to-day life looks like, how much he was earning, the clients he was working with, and the fact he could just work from anywhere. It sounded really fun and appealing to me. So I used copywriting to get clients personal training, to land clients and actually speak to the right people, which is really good because I was fully booked pretty quick. But then I quickly fell out of love with personal training, like literally just was not interested at all. And I was more fascinated by following this path of copywriting because it was helping me get to this ideal lifestyle that I had in mind, which was basically to be able to live and work where I wanted. I just loved this idea of being a digital nomad and just being able to have a laptop and be able to fulfill clients and do my work from wherever I wanted, whether it was in Asia, on a beach, or in New Zealand, America, wherever it would be. Because my sole goal was mountain biking. I just wanted to ride my bike a lot and travel the world. So this seemed like a really good choice. A really good choice. And I did actually face some resistance from parents and family and stuff. Like they were pretty skeptical of the whole journey and idea that like, is this even a real job? Is this even a real viable career? Like, why would you want to give up on personal training and even joinery? That was quite hard to work through. As soon as it started working for me in terms of like making money with copywriting, then people's perceptions obviously change. And then they were like my biggest fans. So that was quite interesting to see. That's basically my story in a nutshell. I went on from there to create like a pretty thriving freelance business on my own. I never really scaled past just myself. I didn't really have the knowledge of how to scale a business at that time. So I just was a freelance copywriter for myself, had a few key clients who paid me a decent sum of money every single month to do their email marketing, which is what I focused on really. I was an email ghostwriter. So I was writing emails quite daily actually, more than one email a day to different segments of their audience. So we would be writing emails to people who had bought from us before and people who hadn't bought from us before. And we had to do a lot of email marketing stuff. And I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed mapping out campaigns, writing these things, coming up with ideas for stories, and really getting under the surface level of learning how all this stuff works and how my copywriting was impacting the business. And then you can kind of see how valuable you are. That was my journey. If we rewind a little bit, I'll talk about how I actually learnt copywriting. I first learnt copywriting, obviously when I found that training in that mastermind, but I was very much a consumer, very much just, I spent so much time diving into every resource I could find. I was a big book reader back then, didn't really watch too many YouTube videos, just bought every single book on copywriting and just read it from cover to cover. Then started learning about what is good copywriting and how to actually be a copywriter. Started investing in other people's programs and courses to like learn what they had learned. That's always like a good thing if you, in anything, learning from people who have already done what you're trying to achieve. That's like a big takeaway for me. Sure, you can go at it yourself and figure out like everything, but it's going to take you longer. And if you value your time, then I would pay a little bit of money to someone and learn from them, because you'll get to your goal faster and they'll be able to teach you so many things that you won't be able to anticipate. I read books, I did start watching YouTube videos, podcasts, like all that stuff. But then it gets to a point where you have to start turning that consumption into action, because you reading books isn't going to get you a client. That's what I realized anyway. So it was scary as fuck, but I started reaching out to people. I didn't actually use social media too much back then. I was using more just email, communicating through email and showing people like how I could help them. I spent a lot of time also networking. I went to a lot of in-person events. I met up with people. I was part of Facebook groups where we would have regular meetups, be it on Zoom, digitally, or in person. It's quite surprising how fast your network can grow and how quickly you can get clients if you're in the right space. Like, I was always surrounded by entrepreneurs and business owners. In business, there's always going to be a need for a copywriter. It's like everywhere you look on someone's website, social media, even just billboards, magazines, everything, it's all copywriting. So as long as there are still businesses alive and thriving, there's always going to be a demand for copywriters. There's more businesses now than ever, which means there's more a need for copywriters. It's just fascinating. I think it's so fascinating. Like, I would almost argue it's probably the simplest side hustle or skill that you can start, because you don't need a degree in anything. I would say you need to be somewhat passionate about writing. Like, you need to be able to like to write, because otherwise there's no point doing it. But you don't have to be a good writer as such. Like, I'm not a very good writer. It's all just about clear communication. So if you can speak to somebody at their level and understand where somebody is at and what they're trying to achieve, the copywriting is just kind of the bridge between those two things. And obviously the more you do it, the better you get it. But in the beginning, I was just fascinated by it all. Like, so fascinated by it. And being in these circles of entrepreneurs and business owners, you're always exposed to new people who are looking for help with copywriting. It's amazing. You get one or two clients, and then they do a good job for those one or two clients. They then tell one or two of their business friends or people they know, and before you know it, you've grown this spider web of people who are interested in what you do and actually want to hire you, which is the place you really want to be. Now, it wasn't easy going. Like, I put quite a lot of work into networking and making sure I was at events and trying to do as much as I can in terms of outreach and being in front of people. But as soon as I got to a point where I had a couple of key clients who were paying me like a retainer a month. Like, a retainer is like a monthly fee that you would get every month for doing whatever the deliverables were. And most of the time for me, that was email copywriting. I just loved writing emails. I just like writing short conversational pieces of writing that get people to do things. I think it's fun. But as soon as I got a few clients, I didn't actually need to do any more outreach, and I was actually turning people away because I had too much going on. In the beginning, I was doing just like one-off jobs, doing sales pages here for people, sales pages there, Facebook ads and stuff. But after that, I quickly realized if I wanted to grow this as a proper business and make it like a really good go at it, I had to get serious about it and not treat it as a hobby and treat it as an actual business. That's what I did. And then once I got those few retainer clients, for me, I was quite content. Like, I actually didn't have the knowledge back then of how to scale a business like this. I just never had done it. So for me, earning £7,000 or £8,000 a month at mid 20-year-old, that was really good. Like, that was really comfortable for me. I could afford to do everything I wanted to do. I could afford to travel, to a mountain bike everywhere. I could pay all my bills without having to worry about finances. And yeah, that's how my copywriting journey went. Now, what about if we talk about some of the more specifics of getting clients? So obviously, once you've learned copywriting, or you feel like you're a bit more of a proficient writer, so you've consumed a ton of stuff, you're going to need to go and get a client. You're going to need to try and find a client, because you're not going to get paid just for consuming information. It doesn't work like that. So how do you get clients as a beginner copywriter? Well, there's many different outreach strategies, and obviously I used to do a lot of cold email outreach and networking in Facebook groups, but obviously things have changed a little bit now, and my strategy to getting clients now is probably a little bit different than it was back then. So now I'm very strong on using two main platforms, which are YouTube and Instagram, probably more YouTube actually than Instagram. And if I was starting again from scratch, the way I see it, and the biggest untapped potential, is going to work with people who sell information or education on YouTube. I just think that is fascinating. So what I would do is I would go out on YouTube and I would look for people who are offering education on a specific topic or skill. Similar to this, like this channel is mainly based around making an income on the internet. I talk a lot about copywriting, and I've talked about some different things as well recently, but it's all around the same stuff. And it could be people trying to sell their knowledge on anything. It could be knitting, it could be anything to do with sports, it could be cameras, it could be literally anything. As long as they're sharing education and not entertainment like Mr. Beast. Because someone like Mr. Beast isn't going to be actively looking for a copywriter. And there's much more potential in the education space. So I would be going through people's funnels from their YouTube videos. So I'd be clicking through to their website, looking at their description, trying to see what they are trying to sell. Because any education channel will be selling something. And I would be opting to their email list. I would be having a look what they're selling and starting to figure out like where I can help these people improve things. And that's one strategy that I would look for clients with. And if it's an educational channel and they're producing content, then it gets my brain cogs ticking. And I'm thinking, well, what else do they need? How else can I help these people? And one thing you could think of here is doing YouTube scripts for these people, because they're going to want to consistently be putting out content to promote whatever they're doing and help people, introduce their content to their world, introduce their content to new audiences, sorry. And by creating content, that's how they do it. And they need video outlines, they need scripts to read from, more than likely. And you can help YouTubers or course creators or educators, coaches, consultants, you can help all these people do that. And then all they have to do is just turn up and film the video. But you're providing them with a script, and it's based off research of what you think the video will be about, based on research of performance of other channels and stuff like that. But that's a really good way, and that is a really valuable and upcoming skill as a copywriter, being a YouTube script writer. That, for me, is insane. And because of the uprising of AI and ChatGPT, you can bang these scripts out so fast, and you can teach AI and ChatGPT someone's voice, tone, and style, and then you can produce scripts that are exactly how they would talk. So there isn't a need for you to be writing scripts from scratch anymore. It's all about managing how we use AI to enhance copywriting. And while we're talking about AI, actually, let's just talk about AI and copywriting, because I think it's quite a relevant topic and quite fascinating, actually. I love ChatGPT. I love AI. So good. And people are always asking, like, if I start copywriting now, am I not going to have a job in this next coming year or so because AI is going to take my job? Well, the way I see it is, if you believe that, then it probably will happen. And those people who think that probably aren't fit for this task or fit for this career path. Whereas if you flip your thinking and look at it from the path of, well, we have all these tools, everyone has access to all these AI tools. What about if I use AI and ChatGPT and all these other tools to enhance what I'm already doing and become a copywriter who has AI as a tool? Because with ChatGPT, although I don't solely rely on it, I wouldn't recommend it as yet. I think it's still quite obvious when something's so written by ChatGPT. But you can use that to leverage your time in amazing ways. You can take on more clients now as a freelance copywriter without your time ever increasing too much, which means you can just make more money. Whereas you used to have to spend a lot of brain power on the actual writing of things and idea creation and everything. And you just didn't have the brain capacity to do all that. Whereas now I feel you can do that, and ChatGPT helps us do that. And as copywriters, it's a fantastic tool. So you can use that as a tool. So never think that it's copywriting is too saturated, because it's not. There's more businesses, there's more educators coming online, there's just more access to things and people and businesses. And there's always going to be a need for a copywriter, always. So I would reach out. That's a great strategy, a great way of becoming a copywriter, either being a YouTube scriptwriter or an email ghostwriter. Like, if people are growing their email lists actively, then there's a space there for you to come in and help with the emails that go out every week to those people. So when you're reaching out to clients, let's talk about a portfolio. Do you actually need a portfolio? That's a question that comes up a lot, because people also don't want to get started if they don't have any experience. It's like a chicken and egg. Like, how do I get clients without a portfolio? And then how do I create a portfolio without any clients? Well, there's ways around this, and there's two things that I will share with you here, which have been quite interesting for me. I never had a portfolio. I created a fake portfolio, right? And that's not cheating or anything. That's just something I would call a permissionless apprenticeship. And I got that from Ali Abdaal. I think that's such a cool thing to say. Like, it's the permissionless apprenticeship is basically where you're able to go out and create yourself a portfolio without clients. And what I used to do was I used to go and find other people's current offers, landing pages, sales pages, emails, and I would just rewrite them myself and look at ways that I can improve this. That's all I would do. And then I would just compile what I'd written in a Google Drive folder. And that was my portfolio. That was my experience. And then I was just really upfront and honest with people when I was trying to sign them as a client. And if they asked if I had any experience in this field or something like that, I would say, look, here's what I've done so far. I'm new to copywriting. I want to be transparent with you. I don't have any experience with clients, but I've written these pieces of copy for myself as practice. And I literally have work ethic over everything. I'm as transparent as they come. I'm really passionate about what you have to offer and how I can bring my skill set to the table and help you improve your offer or whatever. And that, being like that and transparent and honest, is so much more valuable to a business owner or anyone looking to hire a copywriter than somebody who has just got these accolades next to their name or a portfolio of work but no personality. Like, people hire people, remember that. Like, a business is just a collective of people. Or maybe not even that, maybe it's just one person. But if you're looking to hire somebody as a writer, that's kind of the thought process I would be thinking. What's this person like? And if you're transparent and honest, that will shine through everything, for sure. Okay, so you've got someone's interest, and how much you charge? How do you create a good offer as well? How do you create an irresistible offer? You want like a unique value proposition, and people call these like unique selling points or USPs. I just call it an irresistible offer. So when you jump on a call with a potential client, how do you offer them something that they literally would feel stupid for saying no to it? How do you create something like that? Well, you want to do it by removing the risk. So when somebody's hiring you as a copywriter, it's a risky thing. They don't know if they're going to get results. They don't know who you are. It's a risk to them. It's a risk, a time and a money risk. So if you can reverse that and put the risk on your shoulders and make it be perceived by them that they're not taking a risk, then you win every time. And this could be by potentially offering free work to begin with to get a case study. Now, people think you should never work for free and stuff, but I have a very different take on that. And I think there is a space for working for free, because the case study you get from free work is as valuable as a payment. Because if you use that, if you get one good case study, you'll never have to worry about clients ever again. That's one thing I want you to take from this video. One good case study, you'll never have to worry about clients. Just you won't. Because the case study is like it just acts as another sales machine for you and just proof that you can do what you're saying you can do. And it just takes even more risk off any future people you speak to about copywriting, because they see that and think, oh, he's achieved some amazing results for all these people, or this one person. Why would he not be able to do it for me? So there's no risk at all. So always be looking to get case studies and do free work to begin with. And an irresistible offer could be based on many different things versus, like, it could be price driven, although I wouldn't recommend it. It could also be outcome dependent. So whether you're being quite specific on how you're going to help a client get more subscribers to their channel, increase their average views on their YouTube channel, boost their open rates of emails, make more sales of a course. You can be really specific like that. And that's quite an irresistible offer for someone, because they know exactly what they're getting. And then you could also say, like, look, if we don't get those numbers, I will work with you for free, or I continue working for you until we get those numbers. So it's almost as close to a guaranteed outcome as you can get. That's how I would see it. And that's how I would price myself when starting. So that's how I would create an irresistible offer when I'm starting. Pricing, how much should you price yourself as a beginner copywriter? Now, price is a common question that comes up. And price is just a number. It's elastic. There is no one price I could ever give you that say, I can't just say charge this much, because you might not be at that confidence level to charge the prices that I would charge. Now, the caveat with this is you don't want to charge yourself too cheap. I would almost argue it's better to do free work than it is to charge yourself too cheap. When you charge yourself too cheap, people think you are not as good. Right? That's the way people perceive you, and all this is perception. Now, if you're just getting started, I would probably think you don't have too much confidence. So therefore, you aren't going to be charging too much for your work, or like really high premium, high ticket prices. But over time, you can increase those prices to a more premium price than what you first started out at. And that just comes with experience. And then you can justify your pricing. And then you can take on less clients. Now, a base offer that I talk about in my course, which I will leave useful links below to, is a good starting point for a ghostwriter copywriter, an email marketer, is $2,000 a month for 3 emails a week for a client. That's what my base offer was. It's not too lowball for a client to think you aren't serious, but it's also quite an easy ask. Like if a business is making 10, 15, 20K a month or more, them spending $2,000 a month to test out a new copywriter, or to hire a new copywriter, is a drop in the ocean. And if that $2,000 a month produces X amount increase their bottom line, it is a no-brainer investment. That's where I would start. And there's obviously different types of copywriting you can do, but that's where I started, and that's just like what I would recommend. That or YouTube script writing is the next thing that I see as being the most value in the market. But the basis of pricing is just start low and grow and increase your income as you grow as a copywriter and your confidence grows. That's the main principle of it. But anybody who says you should be charging this much or this much, ignore them. It's all bullshit. Like, it's literally just all bullshit. And when your confidence and skill set grow, you can justify high prices. That's all I would say. So building a freelance business. So at this stage, you've probably got a client or two. I would hope, by following some of the tips in this video. But when it comes to building your freelance business, it's going to go through different stages, and people get stuck at the start because they try and map everything out before they've even taken the first step, which I think is ridiculous. Just start, right? Don't think about setting up a business and doing all this just yet. Just get a client first who is paying you some money, and then think about setting up a business. Run everything through a business. A limited liability company is what I use in the UK. Again, this isn't financial advice or anything like that. This is just for educational purposes only, and what I've done. The tools you're going to need for copywriting. I simply use ChatGPT and I use Google Documents, and that's how I deliver my emails. Invoicing software, I use QuickBooks, and I've used Xero in the past as well, which are both very similar. I prefer QuickBooks because I've been using it for longer. QuickBooks also will do contracts. I would argue you could use some sort of project management tool like Trello. So this is just going to help you stay organized and know what projects you're working on. But when you're starting to work with clients as a copywriter, they might already have project management tools. So then all you would have to do is learn what tool they are using. Same for an email service provider. So sometimes you'll get a client and they might ask you to, part of your fulfillment for the client would be to actually send the emails and set them up inside whatever email service provider they use. So you may have to use that. They'll give you the login details, and then you will learn that. And they're all very similar. They just might be a little bit different in how they look, but most of them operate very much the same. So that's a part on like the different tools you will need and like what you will be expected to learn once you get a client, but every business is different. So how do we, this is an interesting one because it's going to be different for everyone, but how do you structure your day as a copywriter? Or how does your day look? Because everyone's going to be different. Now for me, I structured my day and based things around when I had the most energy and most of my focus. So I am very much a morning person. So I'd wake up in the morning, get up super early, I'd go for a walk, have a coffee, and then I would just sit down at my local Starbucks and start working. at 6:30 in the morning. That was my thing from like 6:30 till 9:30 was my first work block. And then I would take a break, go for a walk, whatever it would be. And then I would do another 2 hours from maybe 10:30ish till about 2 o'clock. And then I would go and have lunch. And then from there, I would either take the afternoon off and go mountain biking, or I would do some more work. And then I would also work in the evening if I wanted to as well. And that's the kind of the beauty of this business. Like, if you enjoy it, which I hope you genuinely do, it won't feel like work, because you'll always be looking for ways to grow your skills, your income, your business. And it was, for me, just a fun thing. It's really fun. Some days you want to work more, some days you want to work less. But the main thing is here, I was identifying where I was most productive and had the most energy. And then I would put my biggest tasks in those work blocks. And for me, that was the morning. I just felt way more productive in the morning. So I would do the big tasks then, which required the most brain power. In the evening, when I'm winding down and I don't have that much brain power, that's more for like repetitive tasks or tasks that just don't require my brain to think too much. But you might be different. You might be a night owl. You might love working late at night. I'm not a big fan of that, but it could be for you. Now, as you grow, let's talk about scaling a freelance business. As you grow as a freelance writer and take on more clients, you'll reach a point where you will either want to stay on your own, doing your own thing like I did, or you may want to scale your business. And scaling could mean take on more clients, but then obviously your time investment would increase a little bit. Or you could look to start some sort of an agency for your service. So that's basically where you would have other copywriters working underneath you, and they would be doing the bulk of the work for you. So you'd be going out and doing all the marketing, getting new clients, and then there'd be copywriters underneath you doing the writing for you. And then they would pass the work back to you, and then you would pass it back to the client after it's been signed off. That's a really good way to scale a copywriting business. Now, I never did that because I never had the knowledge at that time. That's why I just kept it really lean and just wanted to work on my own. I actually never had the desire to scale a business because all I just wanted to do was have enough money and time to do what I wanted to do, which was mountain biking. So that's what I did. And maybe looking back now, my decision might have been a bit different on scaling things because now I know how to do it. So that's a different way to think about things. Now, you also may want to think about introducing different products that to bring you in more income as you grow. So this is another way of scaling your business. And we can diversify your income. You might have heard that term before. But when you get to a certain level, as your experience grows, you may want to create some sort of a digital product where you start to pass down your knowledge to other people, or you can just utilize your time better and just create more streams of income in your life. So digital products, courses, swipe files, templates are all great for this. And that's exactly what I did. That's why I have my course below, Zero to Paid. That's just a beginner copywriting course. And if you are interested, go check it out. I'm not forcing you to, but it's there if you want like a step-by-step roadmap. There's also the Copy Club there as well, which is the paid community we have. So if you want some more closer access to a mentor from me, that's there as well. Another thing on mentorship as well. I think I touched on this earlier, but mentorship and surrounding yourself with the right people, that's super valuable. Like, I wish I'd known that when I first started. I did get in masterminds when I was a personal trainer and stuff, but if there's one bit of advice I could give you, you end up being the sum of the 5 people you spend most of your time with. You've probably heard that saying before. And it's very true for networking and marketing. Networking and growing your network. Because you will become more like the people you hang out with. So you hang out with low value people who aren't growth minded, don't want to grow, don't have an interest in it, then you will stay at that level. Whereas if you put yourself in situations that may feel uncomfortable to start with, but overall you're around people who are where you want to be and just better people, you will elevate yourself to their level, and then that will become your new normal. And you keep doing that, and that's how you grow professionally and personally as well, actually. But that's what I did as a copywriter. I just surrounded myself with the right people, and that's been my journey. How do you market yourself? So marketing yourself is interesting, and it's something that people get scared by, the term marketing. But marketing just basically means telling people what you're doing. It's just getting traffic, getting eyeballs on what you're doing. It doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. And you can do it for a number of ways. Now, you don't have to start a new Instagram profile, a new YouTube channel, a new anything like that. But what I would recommend is that you do enhance and embrace social media. Now, you might be one of them people who hate social media. I'm not a big fan of it sometimes, but social media allows us to speak to a fuck ton of people, and that's never been possible in our lifetimes before. So you can position yourself as the expert, as the copywriter, by simply sharing what you're doing and what you're up to on the internet, be it on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And you don't actually have to turn your Instagram profile into a thing to show you're just a copywriter. You just have to have the word writer in your bio. Because when clients are looking to hire copywriters, they'll check out your social media to check out you're a genuine person. I would almost argue Instagram profiles now are like the new CVs. You don't need a CV anymore, they're bullshit. But people will check on social media to see if you're a legit person. That's how it is. And you just need to have posts on there showing you like what you get up to. Maybe there is some writing stuff on there, but it doesn't have to be solely based on copywriting at all. That's what people think. Same on YouTube, same goes for YouTube. If you're more a video person like I am, then maybe YouTube is the place that you demonstrate what you're up to and share what you're doing. And then obviously you'll be outreaching to clients. So you'll be outreaching to them, and then they'll be checking out what you're up to. And you can also include links to all your digital products and services on your social media. So then you'll get traffic and eyeballs organically through that. You then obviously got your testimonials and social proof. So like I said before, case studies and testimonials, it should be your job as a copywriter. Your only goal is to get a case study from a client. So you fulfill the client and you get a case study, because the more case studies you get, this is like a secret hack that most people don't do this. It's so simple though. Get a case study, because the more case studies you can get, that's doing the selling power for you. That's bringing you more clients. And like I said before, if you get one good case study, you'll never have to worry about a client again. That's very true. So think about that, because if you have a wall of social proof of how great of a copywriter you are and what results you get, you'll be charging higher prices, you'll be charging premium prices, your service will become very, very valuable, and you'll just be an overall better business for sure. Branding, I mean, you could argue that branding is important, but building a personal brand around you as a copywriter is probably what I would do. Don't overthink this too much. You don't necessarily need a website when you first start out. You don't really even need a website, to be honest with you, so don't get hung up on websites. Overcoming some common challenges. So you may feel a bit like an imposter when you first start out. I know I did. I felt like I wasn't good enough to be a writer. I felt like really quiet, introverted, felt I was scared to go out to speak to people, all that stuff. But you quickly get over it. And I've done videos on this channel talking about motivation before, and you may feel like I need to get motivation to start. But what you actually need is the discipline to start. And then once you're disciplined, the motivation comes. And then once you're motivated, you're more disciplined. That's the cycle it works in. So you need to also think about yourself as a business owner and not just a writer. So you aren't just a copywriter, you're a business owner who happens to do writing. That's a very important mind shift if you want to grow as a copywriter. So that was my little chat about journey, everything I've learned about copywriting in the last 8 or 9 years. I will leave useful links below to my copy group, which is where you can get access to me at a close level. I can review your copy. I can help you grow as a copywriter. And there's also my course there as well, which is a roadmap to helping you get your first few paid copywriting clients. And YouTube is also going to recommend some videos up here, which I strongly recommend you check out next because it's a pretty clever machine. And yeah, any comments, drop them below. See you in the next video.